My name is Johnathan COF. I made a speech. The main claim that I have is electric cars are harmful for the environment. And that may come to a shock to a lot of you guys. You see electric cars running around and you're like, wow, you know, great thing for the environment. But just think about it. There's a lot of points that people just oversee when they're first looking at the electric cars. And my supporting points are first, the production of cars, of these electric cars, contributes to the pollution of the environment. So now it's not the cars themselves, it's the production of these cars. My second point is the production of the electricity needed to power these cars also causes a lot of pollution. And my third and final one is that the electric car lifespan is actually too short for a positive effect on the environment. Now going back to my first point, the production of the electric cars contributes to pollution of the environment. So to support that, electric cars are made differently than regular cars, and that's, I guess, just an obvious kind of thing to think about. A regular car is made of a lot of sand casting, and sand casting it's kind of like a Lego. You put the dirt inside, everything has it, and you can use that Lego over and over and over again to make the same motor. And all these motors are like that for different cars, different, like a Beast or whatever, but they all have a certain use and they can all be reused. So they're very efficient. The efficiency of the manufacturing creates less pollutants in the air while they're doing the manufacturing. The electric cars, however, because they're so new to the market, all of the things that they put into it to try to make these electric cars are brand new, so they haven't had time to become efficient. So just running all the manufacturing components onto there actually boosts up a lot of pollution in a lot of places. Going to my second point, the production of the electricity needed to power these cars is highly pollutant. So when you think about electricity, it's pretty cheap, thinking about house lights and things like that. But to power these cars, just a little bit more. And if everybody had one, it'd be a lot more to power these. In California, it's not such a big deal. We do have nuclear power plants that power the electricity and different things like that, but that's in California. If you look at a wide span, national span, more than 40%, according to the Union of Concerned Scientists, more than 40% of the fuels used to make the energy that power these cars and that power our houses come from coal burning. So, if you guys don't know, coal burning is actually the #1 contributor to CO2 emissions in the United States. And so by doing that, you look at the electric cars, there's no emissions coming from the electric cars, but where's that energy coming from? And that energy is coming from burning coal, something that is obviously bad for the environment. So by burning this coal, you're putting all this pollutants into the air before anybody can see it, before the market can see it, and it goes on like that. And so you think you're doing something good, when really you're hurting the environment. And then you think of other energy sources. What about wind sources? What about solar energy? You know, things that put on top of houses, things like that. You think it's a wide market, but only 3% of the energy as a nation comes from wind source and solar power source. So out of all the different things that we're getting energy from, the things that we think are the best only contribute to a small portion of that, something that can be used by just houses in a regular market. And my last point is the lifespan of these electric cars are too short for a positive effect. So in a regular car, I know my car, I have more than 200,000 miles in the car. That's an old car, right? Mm-hmm. But people commute all the time and they run through these cars, and usually if it's a commuter car can last a little longer, go on. My grandpa has a car that's 350,000 miles, and just regular maintenance keeps it up. These electric cars, there isn't a really, I guess, practice regular maintenance for these cars. They're like batteries. Do you take out your batteries and wash them before you put them in every couple weeks? No, you don't. You just use them up. And according to journalist Troy Hawkins, an electric car can only go, its lifespan is only 150 to 300 kilometers. And to put that in perspective, that's approximately 93,000 to 186,000 miles. Something that regular cars hit just on a regular basis, something that, you know, we don't even think about. At 186 miles, that's when you start thinking about having a new car. It's not when your car is dead and you can't use it anymore. It's like batteries. But in the electric cars, like batteries, they just run out. And so once they run out, what do you do with your electric car? You take them into the shop. You say you want a new car, right? So you put these all the emissions that you didn't do or that you didn't use in the electric car, you put them in, you say I want a new car, you get a new one. That new car, all the emissions that you didn't put in the air while driving that car, you just bought with your new vehicle. Your new vehicle, to create that vehicle, all the emissions they used to build that up, to make that car, just that was more than what a regular car would emit just driving it around for the same span as if you had an electric car. So what I'm saying is, driving a car, just regular gas, regular car, actually produces less emissions than if you had an electric car and you just bought it off the market. That making that electric car has more pollutants in the air. And so just to reiterate and to conclude, my main claim was electric cars are harmful for the environment. We went over the production of cars, of these electric cars, contributes to the pollution of the environment. The production of the electricity used to power these cars is highly pollutant. And the last one, the lifespan of these electric cars are too short to have a positive effect on the environment. Thank you.
I always start off with the positive things in people's speeches because I think that you're never going to remember them. I know that happens because when we get to the negative stuff, that's all people pay attention to. However, I'm going to try and focus on the positive here and hope that you remember these things. Proposition's really clear, excellent layout of the content. I thought you delivered the speech really well. Hey, you finished exactly at 6 minutes. You can pat yourself on the back on that kind of thing. So you're doing a good job there. Internally, you signpost the points very clearly, so it's all easy to follow. You also have good explanations of the concepts on your individual points. All right, so that's all the good stuff. All right, now, here's the stuff that's a little bit problematic. The meat of the argument needs a little bit more development. That whole argument that you make at the end that says buying a replacement car for the shortened life of the electric car would utilize all of the resources that you'd saved by using an electric car, that's great, and I need something that quantifies that, something that shows that. I mean, I understand the thinking there. You've explained the concept. But proving it means that I've got to have some data. So how much energy resources is used to produce a new car, for instance, and if we're buying new cars an average of 3 years faster if we get to an electric car than we would if we were driving a conventional car, then over a period of time how many more new cars would have to be produced, and then how much resources that would be. I know that requires doing some complicated research and math, but that's really the crux of your argument. That's the thing that's going to prove that point. You've explained what the argument is, but you've got to make it convincing, and I think that the data is... You've got a couple of places where there's some good data there. I mean, it's not that you didn't have any information, but there are several spots that are just like that, where you make the claim, and then there's no follow-through on it. All right, thank you.